I had this chat like a couple of, probably at this point it's months ago, where like talking to different women, and like this is not like, these are like women in the church. These are mamas, these are young women, these are women not in the church, these are married women, these are unmarried women, who are just like, babes, if you want a baby, do what you gotta do. Because he's your husband. He's not gonna leave you.
I will never in our marriage, bro, ever. I'll say this to you in private, I've said this publicly, ever confuse that you are my friend first before our children. You are my wife first before our did I say our children?
You did.
I did.
I didn't want to stop you. I was like, you know what? It's okay.
I wanted to say our child and our children, our chilled. But never. I'll never confuse that, bro. Ever. Matoke. Let's keep on Matoke.
How you do it? Stop calling people Matoke. You're calling people banana.
Yo.
What up?
Welcome to On the Couch with the Nubons.
New York.
Come, okay. How's about Josie, bro?
Josie. On the couch with the new PC.
At Josie.
FM.
Yo.
I think that was my best intro. I thought the last one was my best.
I thought you were going to say Josie FM was your best radio station. I was like, okay. I didn't know you. The day I found out about Josie FM, I was like, why?
I'm embarrassed to say I found out about Josie FM when I was called to do an interview.
That's fine, but that's and I don't think you should be embarrassed, because that was my thing. I was like, why would you have a station called why?
For the Josie people.
Like Highveld claims to be Josie. YFM is Josie. You know, yeah, Metro Kaya is in the middle of Josie or not, but it's you know by downtown Josie. So I'm like, it felt redundant.
Yeah.
And no offense to Josie FM, but I was like, why?
Because.
Why?
I don't know. Are you actually asking me? I don't know the answer, Sway.
That's what I thought.
I don't have the answer, Sway. Feeling stressed.
Why? So, it's like we have all these radio stations in Josie that cater, and those other radio stations tend to be more Josie. I didn't get it anyway. But here we are.
Here we are on the couch.
Speaking of radio stations, song of the day.
Why do you sound like?
Like Eddie Zondi.
Ish, R.I.P. man.
Come on now. Angishopela is speaking about radio stations.
Yes, we are.
I don't really have a song for today.
Okay.
I just have
blasphemous.
It's not necessarily blasphemous. It's interesting.
Okay, let me hear you out. I'm gonna let you finish.
Because earlier we were talking about Nickelback.
Yes.
What was that? Was it Silver Drop? What's the album? But something silver.
Yeah, you know the name of the album? I don't know the name of that.
It had a tear and it looked like...
What?
Wow, Lillian.
I don't know. Seriously.
Wow, yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway.
No, sorry. I'm thinking of something else.
What are you thinking about?
I'm thinking of Drops of Jupiter. But that's a song.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. But anyway, Nickelback. What's that famous song?
Never been another white man.
No, poor man stealing.
Does he say tired of living like a black man or a blind man? I always thought it was a black man. Tired of living like a black man.
Wow. Wow. Highveld, please tell us. Jacaranda.
Yeah, Jacaranda.
Jacaranda.
This is how you remind me of what oh yeah, sorry. This is how you remind me of what I really am.
It's not like you to say sorry. Different story. Mistaken. We're breaking. He's been at the bottom of every bottle.
Yo,
it's so sad.
When he says these 5 words in my head, are we having fun yet? At the bottom of every bottle. Poetry. point. But that song is so singable. Like, you feel like you just need to carry on. Yeah, no. That guy, I don't know what his name is. That guy named Nickelback.
That guy was iconic, though. Even his look.
Yes.
But my thing is, like, why did a lot of us know that? And by us, I mean Takis. Why did a lot of black kids in the late 90s and 2000s...
Yeah, because what year was that song?
Did we, like, get so... And here's the thing.
Yeah.
My dad would drop me off at school, and I would ask for Highveld or Jacaranda.
You... What?
And then...
Didn't Jacaranda speak in Afrikaans?
Yeah, but I didn't know anything. I just waited for the songs.
Okay.
I waited for the jams. And then, like, my parents would be like what the hell is going on, bro? Like, why are you listening to...
Who's influencing you?
And then they'd be like, is this like a school thing? Blah, blah, you know? And then I'm like, yeah, like there's a couple of kids who listen to Nickelback at school. And then by the time I got to high school, met a couple of other guys who knew Nickelback. I was like, yeah, you know?
No.
So I think, dog. But I was like, now looking back, I'm like, why?
Dude, for me, like, for us, it was like, as a black person, you go, do you listen to rock? Yeah, Nickelback.
Yeah, that was all rock.
That's the rock.
But isn't that soft rock?
I don't know. I honestly,
like Avril Lavigne.
I think that's punk rock.
You know, that is punk
yes.
rock. That
So
is
like,
punk rock.
I listen to rock. I listen to Nickelback. And probably all the people who actually listen to rock think Nickelback is like bubblegum.
Yeah, it's like how we thought like commercial rap was cheesy and soft and
so people
whack.
that listen to hip hop and it's like, I don't know.
If you're not listening to Cannabis or Immortal
No, you don't listen to
Technique,
hip-hop.
but Jada Mind Tricks, like you soft, bro. You whack, son. You whack.
Hey.
But for us, that was our rock.
Yes.
Yeah, Ken, if you're a black kid who listens to rock, Stella E. Well, anyway, speaking of kids, bro, we're going to talk about babies. Why do you want a baby, Lillian? We have a baby and you want another baby. Why?
I never would have thought. I don't
What?
know. It's just as a woman. I remember when we were getting married.
Yeah.
I mean, like you know, I was like, yeah, kids maybe, but I never
wanted
thought
4 kids.
You did, and now I'm kind of like, that's not such a bad idea.
I want 4 kids.
I kind
now,
of
okay.
still do want
Yeah.
4 kids, but no, I never did. Actually, I started out being like, I don't know if kids will even happen. Like, it wasn't like a deep desire. Like, it felt like, yeah, you get married and you have kids. And I didn't want to do something for the sake of doing something. You know what I mean? So it was like, I will see. And then I remember the couple who were mentoring us, leading us, the wife was like to me, yeah, and then, you know, one day when God opens your heart and a desire for a child comes. And I was like, I don't know about that, lady. But I nodded in prayer. I was like, yeah, sure. Then it happened. And I was like, oh, this is what she was talking about. Then we had Zaya. And then I was like, wow, this was a shock to the system. Never again. We're shutting this down. And then like a year or 2 years. Yes. And then a year or 2 ago, I felt that thing again. Like, oh. Yeah, I don't know.
I was in permanent trauma mode.
When? I feel like your brain just like stopped. Was that the complete sentence?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I wanted 4 kids. We had one. I was like, Makatlapa.
Why did you want 4 kids?
Rubbish.
Why did you want 4 kids? That's a lot of people.
Yeah, we need to have a lot of people.
Yeah, but
in
why?
the
At the
world.
time, why did you want 4 kids?
Primarily because, you know, I was like, yo, man, we need to have a lot of kids, evangelize them, impact
Why?
the world. Because God wants us to have kids. And I was like, we need to have kids.
So it's not like you in your heart wanted to have kids. You felt like it's your duty to have kids.
Wow, you see, let's not get into that.
Okay, let's not.
Yeah,
Because we are on different pages when it comes to that. It's
no,
fine.
it's not different pages. Because I don't see duty as something that's out of my heart. Like, you know, like I remember chatting to David and we were talking about like, we even said this on 2.5, you know, where it was like when you guys were struggling,
Yes.
depression had hit you, and I'm like, when I think of duty, especially as a man, I'm like, it's not out of who I am or
Yes.
besides who I am. It is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so when I think I need to do this thing for duty, it's because I'm wired for duty. That's who I am, right? So anyway, and that's why I'm like, we're gonna get into that, and
Okay,
it's gonna
let's
be
not digress. Let's not
and we could
digress.
talk about that, but
Remain determined to the topic.
digress, determined.
Evanescence.
So hey, so I wanted 4 kids. Yeah, I was like, man, that's gonna be.
Why not 5? Why not 6? Why not 3? Why
Yeah,
specifically 4?
Yeah, so maybe 4 at a selfish level was, even number. And I never thought I'd have boys. I don't know. I still don't think I'll have boys. I'm not God. God can't give me boys. And it's probably just my own experience and upbringing of just being surrounded with girls, sisters, aunts, my mom. Yeah. But I just thought like having a house full of kids, man, would be cool, know. And playing with not this thing of playing with kids, we need to talk about that,
guys, because there's a time when you're like getting on that floor. The floor is so far down, and this child is telling you to come play on the floor. My knees are kneeing, and you want me to go down,
bro. Anyway, but I think just seeing them grow up and impacting the world, etc., and just being dope humans. Yeah, and I think obviously just having populated the world with people who you hope would do better than what we have, and because you want to pour into them as well. They're not just going to magically be better people. You have to work and pour into them, etc. So, but all of that to say, I wanted 4 kids. We had 1, and then the reality of actually fathering and trying to do everything else, just like Mike Tyson would say, you have a plan until you get punched in the jaw.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, man, got a desire, got a plan. And then 1 kid punched me in the jaw. And let's be fair, because I was born 2019. She grows up in COVID. And it's just like our lives are just rocked, And then
she also came at a time when like we were like, I don't know, in terms of like career, things were quite shaky.
Yes,
so
yes,
there's
that as well. There's that as well, and I think part of what's contributing to where I'm at now is feeling like that's past us.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll get into that. But yeah, had 1 kid, and then thought, people with 2 kids, like, what the hell are you doing? Because and then I thought, why did I want to have 4 kids? What are you doing? But yeah, and then you see her and she grows, and there's tough moments. There's like a lot of dope moments, and I think Zaya's at a very weird stage, at least according from my perspective. Like she's you could see her personality, and she's asserting herself and trying to obviously like say to the rest of the grown-ups in her world, like, I also have weight and space, and I have a voice, etc. And so you could see like parts of her personality and how she'll be when she grows up. But at the same time, I'm like, you're my child, you need to behave, be contained, be how I want you to be. And then I have to remind myself,
she's a human.
She's a human. She's a human. Yours is to protect, coach, train, discipline, prepare her for the world that she's going to live in, which is a whole other thing. I think parents sometimes, and especially I see it in hindsight with our parents, they prepared us for their world. I mean, and they didn't prepare us for the world that we live in. So, and we can talk about that. But
yeah.
So that's my initial, I think, intro to parenting.
So in the front of your mind, because I think we had similar but different experiences. So in like you, when you got married, 4 kids, let's do this. I'm like, can we even have kids? I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah.
I don't know, right?
Yeah.
And then find my heart, like by the time we discussed having to try for a baby, I was the one who initiated that conversation.
But we did say in 5 years we're gonna try.
Yeah, but it wasn't like it was, the countdown is here, let's go. There was like a natural progression.
No,
but I'm getting
okay. So in my head, when we said we're gonna talk about having kids in 5 years, I was like, yeah, we'll talk in 5 years.
Yes.
And then the 5 years came.
Yes, but what I'm trying to say, that from my perspective, I didn't think that at 5 years I would have the desire.
And
I'm not saying that.
I know what you're saying. So I know what you're saying with the desire, and what I'm trying to say from my perspective is I don't care whether the desire was
I know,
there or
because
not.
you are Mr. Duty.
Yes.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
and this is what this is the parallel I'm trying to draw.
Yes.
Where now I'm like, oh wait, this isn't just the thing that we said we talk about. Oopsie, the time is here. Let's talk about it. It was actually like, flip, I'm actually ready. I want this thing. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
And then we have her, and yeah, of course, you know, it's the shock to the system, which is leading me to the question I'm about to ask you.
Yeah.
Where now I'm the one who's actually like, you know what, we could do 4 kids.
Yeah.
And you're the one who's like, hi.
Yeah.
So I would like to know, what is it? I'm sure it's multiple things, but if like, is there like one thing that like shocked you so much about becoming a father that's making you like, I don't want to like start again?
It's like all your balls falling out of the box, and you know, and you're trying to catch them. Because I'm like, obviously, this might not be as obvious to many people, but like, you know, dudes work in boxes, and so I'm like, I have my box, and the thing that marriage, kids, does to your boxes is this, right?
Yes.
Shakes your boxes, flips everything upside down, that's marriage, and kids are going to do that, right? And so I think marriage and kids and a kid did that, and then I was like, balls are everywhere, I'm freaking out, can't do this, right? And I'm like, what balls can we contain? What balls can we put back in the box and just keep moving? Right?
Okay.
And here's the thing, I'm like, the whole time again, because I never want to just move without being informed by my faith, at least to a very large extent. I'm like, this is wrong, bro, for me.
What
Not wanting to have more kids.
Okay.
It's wrong for me, right?
Yes.
I'm like, no, dog, you need to have more kids.
Okay.
If God grants you more kids, have more kids.
Okay.
So I'm wrestling the whole time with, this is wrong. You can't just say you don't want kids because your boxes are now shaking and your balls have fallen out. You can't just, you know. But then I'm like, grand God, yeah, I'm nice.
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
We're going to deal with this when I see you face to face one day, Mara. This is hard, bro.
So here's the thing, and I'm not trying to have this
No,
debate with you,
yes,
but
yes.
for me, it's a thing where, so, I mean, I'm going to go there. Like, as someone who does struggle with mental illness,
Yeah.
maybe that's the vantage point I'm coming from when you say my boxes, whatever. Because then I think to myself, would it be fair to bring a whole, like, we're not talking about buying a new car, right?
Yeah.
This is like a whole human.
Yeah.
It's a lifetime commitment. It's until like you leave the earth.
Yeah.
So it's like, is it not okay then for you to be like, you know what, this is just not something I think would be right for me to do? Because we know of people who've been raised by parents who felt obligated to have them. You wouldn't want to be like, so from that's the place I'm coming from, where number one, you don't want to have a kid who feels that, like that inconvenience feeling, and then you being a dad who's just under this like I need to do this, I have to do this, and
So
know,
again,
like,
maybe let's So maybe let's again. I mean, and I'm saying again because we spoke about it earlier, we touched it, and let's put this out there. When I speak of duty, when I speak of wanting to do something because God says I must do it, my feelings are 150 million% attached to that.
But your feelings are also attached to your boxes.
Yeah, and that's the thing that causes the wrestle.
Okay.
And I have to fight to distinguish what is true and what isn't at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm saying is, yes, there's plenty of people out there who will do things out of obligation that they never attach to. It's just head knowledge, right? God says I must do this thing. I'm going to do it. I don't want to do it. This thing sucks, right? And I'm not even going to wrestle with God or even myself and even with my spouse to say, how do I align all of me to this thing, right? So then you get people who have cold obligation. And I think cold obligation is an issue, right? But I'm like, there's obligation that's, again, you know, so we use the word obligation in our culture with very negative connotations as well. And I think we spoke about this in one of our episodes. It's this whole thing of reacting, right? So you'll see people who who have obligation, and it's called obligation, and therefore people who come under that obligation, whether it's the spouse, whether it's the kids, and obviously in this point the guy is the one with the obligation. That's the example I'm using. The spouse, the kids suffer from that, right? Because see, my husband just had a cold obligation towards me, and he didn't marry me because he really loved me. He married me because, well, that's the thing he has to do. Oh, my dad didn't want to have kids. He just had me because that's the thing. Cold obligation sucks, bro.
Yeah.
Cold obligation is whack.
I think that's what I'm hearing.
That's
But
what I'm saying.
I think you're
Cold
about to clarify.
obligation sucks.
Okay.
So I'm saying, when I speak of duty, when I speak of obligation, when I speak of must do, a must have, doing the rules, I'm like, and I've always said to you, if there was ever, which I don't believe in, but if we have spirit animals, I'm like, I'm an ant, bro. Right? An ant is designed to be an ant, and an ant will do what an ant does. An ant is a foot soldier. An ant will work. An ant will go out and get the food, bring it back. I'm like, I see all these videos with bees and etc. And the person is like, oh, if I remove the queen, then all the bees will follow the queen wherever the queen is. That's what the bee is designed for. Sure, I'm not gonna now. I mean, I listened to a podcast of this guy speaking about the thoughts and emotions of animals, and it was so intriguing in how we sometimes think animals just do things out of cold obligation, but they're actually more complex than we think, which is fine. And I don't have enough more information to get into that. But I'm like, for me, when I think of what really and truly defines me, and I'm like, yo, man, I find cues from God, I find cues from my faith, I find cues from being a Christian. There's no cold obligation. Does my obligation run cold at other times? Yeah, sure it does. I'm a human, I fail. But I'm like, for the most part of it, for the bigger part of it, no, it's not cold at all, right? At all. I'm like, yo, man, I want to marry you, right? And I think, what's going to sustain my marriage? What's going to sustain me? And it's going to keep me going, especially in the moments when I'm just tired. Like now, I am finished. And I am dead, right? Like zero.
It's the grace of God that we're here.
Bro, like zero.
No, we finished.
I am dead.
Yes.
And I'm like, if it was just my strength and I'm like, girl, please stop talking. Don't come into can you just, this whole thing of you wanting to be alone together. Can I be alone? I don't want to do this thing, right? But it's in those moments where, because my obligation is not cold, right? My obligation says, we're not doing this, right? Why? We love. Why? Because we have hopes for the future. Why? Because this chick is hot. But I'm saying, if you don't have you don't have anything that governs you, then at that point, well, to even say that, that's not true, because then your emotions would govern you at that point, and you would just flow with them. Yeah. My emotions say, we don't want to be here. Let's not be here. But obligation that's not cold, right? If we have to say warm obligation, it's because I'm engaging with the truth of why I'm supposed to be here and how my emotions are reacting at that point. And there's genuine discourse between these two things. Therefore, I come out with a better motivation, a stronger motivation. So I'm like, for as long as Zaya's been alive, and my girl, one day you're going to see this podcast, right? I'm like, for as long as she's been alive, my emotions and my obligations have been fighting.
Yeah.
Because then my obligations say, having kids is good, right? My obligation reminds me, when I see Zaya, look at how smart she is. Look at how talented she is. Look at how feisty she is. Yes, sometimes she rubs me up the wrong way and I just want to go and be like, yo, man, let's get rid of this kid. We don't want to do this, right? But my obligation is she's made in God's image. She's amazing. She's beautiful. She's all these things, right? I see in the moments when I'm like, shucks, bro, I'm an older brother. It would be dope for her to be an older sister, right? It would be so dope, right? Share that thing with firstborns, etc., etc., make more kids. There's all these other good intentions, etc., 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 to have more kids. And then my feelings will say in the moment, hell no, we don't want to do that. Why? Because it's inconvenient. We don't want to do that. Why? Because if we just have one kid, by the time she's 20, she'll leave the house.
We're done.
We don't have to do this thing.
We'll be empty nesters.
So then, obligation fights these feelings. Obligation corrects these feelings. Obligation says, and duty says, listen, you can feel this thing and you feel it and it's real. Your feelings are real. My feelings are not fake at that moment. I'm reacting to a real situation in a moment, but my obligation then finds a way to tune those towards what truth is, right? Not even reality, because it is real that I'm feeling tired, but what truth is above what my reality says, right? And so I'm like, my obligation is not cold. And I never want you to hear that and think, are there people who just have cold obligation? Yes. Does my obligation get cold sometimes? It does. I fight it not to be cold, but it's at most times it's not cold, right? It's warm. It engages with my reality, my feelings, and my wants and my desires, etc., etc., etc. Right? And obviously there's other ways I could paint that picture, but I think maybe that answers your question.
I mean, it does give me clarity.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I get that. I mean, I think obviously I'm just wired differently. Not necessarily
sure.
that mine is wrong, or I mean right, or yours is wrong, or vice versa.
Sure.
I think it's a thing where, like, if I was on like where you are at, where it's like, nah, fam, I don't know about this. I think I would have the whole cold obligation thing. I think that would be enough for me to say, we're tying the tubes because I don't want to do this. Like, I wouldn't be pressed by sort of that bigger picture stuff, sort of that you, like, I don't know if bigger picture is the right word, but those external, like, I think it would be more like how I'm feeling. And so even though I'm like, there are a lot of things that are hanging in the balance and whatever, I still have the desire to, like, have more kids, which for me is like enough to move forward, which I don't know if that's 100% right. Because it is probably being completely led by emotions, because there is the truth that, like, having a child totally, I mean, I remember, you read, when you get pregnant, you read all the stuff, what's going to happen, but nothing prepares you for the actual, and I guess it's with anything in life, right? Like that's something you can apply everywhere. But I remember the one thing that I remember came as a shock to me was this. I think just before I gave birth, I was speaking to a lady at church, and she was like, yeah, you're probably not going to feel like yourself until, like, your child turns 1. And I did not know what she meant until I think Zaya was like 14 months old. And I realized that I had not felt like myself.
And what does that even mean, though?
It's so hard to explain. It's almost like you feel like you've lost a part of your mind and you didn't realize it was gone until you got it back. Like, it felt like... And literally, I remember, I think Zaya it was during lockdown, definitely. It was like April, May, when it just felt like everything just went back into focus. And I felt almost like my old self, because you, like, yes, you're housing a human and there's the physical changes, but I don't, like, the
so
part
you
that
mean
affects...
physically?
No, I'm talking about psychologically, mentally, emotionally, and I think it's the shock of, like, now there's a baby, there's a person.
Wow.
I mean, remember when we left the hospital? When we left the hospital,
thought,
and be like,
what are we doing?
Why are they letting us leave with this? Isn't someone going to come with us? Like, and I had seen that in the movies, but I thought they were just being funny. But just the feeling of, like, and I think that the shock, and then obviously your body needs to, like, come back. And I'm not talking about weight loss, just like my bones were, like, weird and, like, snapping and doing weird stuff. But then my mind, it just felt like my mind, maybe somewhere I was like, okay, this is your new normal, and it just clicked in.
But so what I'm struggling with now is, how do you even feel like your old self? Because your old self didn't have a child.
I think I just didn't feel like I was not balanced. Okay. So it felt like, here's the feeling I can describe. You might not know because you're always driving. You're hardly ever a passenger. But take yourselves to the one time where someone's driving you, probably David or someone. Yes, when you're in an Uber.
Yesterday, I was like, this is why I never let anybody drive me.
Why? Was he driving badly?
Jassy. So I'm fine with speed. I'm okay with speed. Right? because I'm like, if there's
Gotta
no-
get there.
Oh, I'll speed sometimes. It's fine. But I'm like, don't speed with a lack of control, my dog.
Okay.
Because this dude, I was like, and we're driving a Matchbox here, my dog. Like,
I-10.
I-10 is more stable
Oh
than
my
that
goodness.
thing.
Okay.
I was like, dog, please, bro. Like, I want to live.
Yes.
I want to live. This is not one of those weeks I want to be out. I want to live, right? And that's the thing. Well, anyway, so I know the feeling.
So the feeling I'm describing, but the specific feeling is when someone is turning and the inertia is hitting you, and like you're just waiting for the car to like finish
Especially if you're a
turning.
passenger.
Exactly. When you're driving, you don't really. I think because you're in control. But when
Sometimes
you're,
even at the back, you don't feel it.
yeah, but when you're on that passenger seat and you're
Front.
feeling your body moving and you're trying to like get it straight, and that feeling of just you can't. And then once the car's finished turning, and then it's like, whew. Your organs are like back into place. That's what it felt like. It felt like I was in this like really uncomfortable position, and then now everything was straight.
Sure.
So maybe I didn't feel like my old self because my old self didn't have a kid.
Yeah.
But I just felt like okay, and I'm not sure what it was, but I remember reading in the books, watching the vlogs of them saying after about a year you will feel like yourself. But again, I just thought they meant physically, like is it
Sure.
just all the physical changes you go to,
Which is part
go
of it.
through. Yes, but I only thought they meant physically.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that feeling of just not feeling right. Then it just like it almost was like, yeah, we're back on track.
Yes.
So but like, yeah, even though I felt all of that stuff,
Yeah.
even though I felt the shock and
Yes,
whatever,
you still want to have kids.
it was like, yeah, I'm still like that's still there. And for me, the desire to have more kids outweighs what that shock was. Versus for you, the shock is so high. And I think that's the thing where I'm like, if I was where you were at, I'd be like, I was shocked. Took me a year to be like myself. I'm not doing this again. I'm good. The big picture can miss me. But for me, it's like just my desire alone is enough to be like, yeah, man. And it's a surprising desire.
No, I
Because
hear
I
you,
didn't
I
think
hear
I
you,
would
I hear you.
ever, I didn't think I would be the mom who likes being a mom. I thought I would, not that I would dislike my child.
No.
But
yes.
people, I love being a mom. I'm like, I soga, you lying, right? But
I'm
like
sure
the
Pella,
whole,
when you were-
I know,
you're
I
a
think
dark
everybody's
lord.
like, it's so bad.
You were a
Like,
prophet of doom.
Zaya has this book called Little Miss Sunshine, and I'm like, yes, I want to be Little Miss Sunshine. She's just happy all the
But
time.
you little Miss Grumpy.
I'm a grumpy.
Oh, in the little people
Oh yeah, in the
world.
Little Miss books. Yes.
Little Miss books,
Yes,
yes.
So it's that thing of just being like, yeah, I don't know.
So I'm saying, and I think this is probably, I'm not using this word in here because I'm trying to be whatever, but like maybe what's quintessential about our genders, because as a woman, you want to nurture, and yes, bazong shaya, but also men nurture. Nyazi. Anyway,
Even us.
sure.
Not all women.
That's not nurturing, fighting me like even us. Anyway, but I'm like, and it's probably that thing in you that's like, oh yeah, I want to nurture, I want to give more of this to other kids.
See, but I didn't think I had that.
Yeah, that's
Even
fine.
before
But
I
I'm
had
sure
size, I was
you're
like,
a dark lord.
wow.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Because you're a dark lord, and then now your dark lord is hit by the fact that you're a mother.
I'm the cringe
And
whose
you're-
heart is melting.
Yeah, imagine if the cringe was a dad. Like being the dad would overpower the cringiness in him. And that's what had happened to you. Like the mother overpowered the cringiness in you. And yes, we would still have to question that desire. We can't just want to have kids because we desire. So we have to consider all factors. Just like we can't just have cold obligation. We have to consider all factors. So I'm saying for me, what happened was, because I'm a father, that's part of what freaked me out, and I'll explain why.
Okay.
Part of what freaked me out is, as the dad, obligation tells me I'm responsible for disciplining these kids, for ensuring that they trained, they become people, decent citizens in this world. I need to be responsible for their spiritual growth, etc., etc. Right? I have to do that. I want to do that. And so having one kid and then realizing, hey,
It's a lot.
It's not popping fleece, my dog.
It's not an Instagram post.
But that's also coupled with whether it's good or bad, whether it's part of my brokenness or part of my gifting. That's not the conversation now. Wanting to perfect things.
Yes.
So I want to,
and this thing is constantly changing.
Yeah.
Every day it's changing.
But I want to, if we're gonna sit down and pray, we're gonna sit down and me teach you about the world. This thing has to happen every day at 6 o'clock. She's 2 months, bro. She's trying to figure out how to breathe. Her mom is trying to figure out how to keep her sleeping so she can grow. I can't just be forcing it like a kid who's 2 months to now, like, you know, like know all like what the essential doctrines are. Freak out. So clearly I couldn't do it with one when she was 2 months. I can't do it with two.
Sure.
Just leave it. All right? She grows. She changes. So I'm like, she's changing. Okay, cool. So when do we start, you know, maybe plus, and you've known this about me. I want Zaya to know Zulu. My Zulu, township Zulu, Nkulele Lokshin. I don't know KZN Zulu, but I want her to speak the language I speak with my people. Oh, smack. She goes to white school. I mean, schools that speak English. She goes to a church where they speak English. We live in a community where people speak English. This is tougher than I thought it's going to be. So if I'm struggling with one, what am I going to do with two?
Would you say, sorry, yeah?
So then I'm like, all these other layers with her. And then obviously what happened with you, which is mental health stuff. So then I'm like, okay, there's obviously postnatal depression, which I'm like, you can tell me, but I think it hit you, but didn't hit you. But anyway, and then obviously you just had your own experience with depression. Then I'm like, why would I want to go through that again with two kids, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, if we have another kid, things are going to change. What if my wife struggles? And now there's two kids. One is older, you know, like by then Zaya's big, like she's hitting 8, 9, 10 years old, and she's a girl, and, you know, girls grow faster than boys. And then what if we have a boy who's just like, you know, wants to climb on me and wrestle, and then my wife is in the bedroom struggling with all of life. I'm like, why would I want to do that? So then everything in me is like, the thing that you're supposed to be father, husband, leader, it's going to be tough.
It's already tough.
And it's already tough. And so that's when I'm saying obligation comes in and says, all of life is going to be tough. Just slow down. Your feelings are giving you a representation of where your reality is. But it's not ultimate truth. Ultimate truth is, like, there's people who've lived before you, who've had 5 kids with more issues than you do, and they've, progressed, they've succeeded, kids are fine, they functioning humans, they're adults, etc., etc. So don't think that, like, your feelings now are going to dictate how you're not even God, you don't know what the future is.
You're not even God.
Yeah. The future is, you don't know what the future is, bro. Chill, right? And so it's taken me time to, like, wrestle through those feelings, wrestle through that stuff, and, you know, what those feelings are presenting to me. And I think, again, because I don't have cold obligation, it's helped me, it's anchored me this whole time.
Yeah.
You know, to the point where I'm at now, where I'm like, let's do it, man. It's like 4 kids, bro. But
I mean, it sounds like there's real fear there. Like, there's the fear. So number one, like, obviously you had an expectation of what fatherhood would look like to you, right? And you're not ticking some of those boxes. So there's a feeling, or sounds like, of like I'm failing here, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the fear of, if I'm already failing here, now we're going to double this thing. So I'm going to be like in exponential failure. That's probably like very wrong maths, like a double failure. I don't know. And then on top of that, there's the fear of what will happen to me as your wife.
Yes. But here's the thing. With marriage, there's that too. So you get married, you have
Yeah,
expectations, and then marriage claps you in the eyes, and then you're like, eh. But here's the thing: I'm not thinking, well, I'm gonna get another wife. So now I fear getting another wife. So why do I deal with? Okay, marriage clapped me in the face. We're gonna grow. We're gonna make this thing work, etc. And now it's been 9 years, right? So with a kid, I'm like, because there's the desire, the need, and obviously the expectation to have more. Suddenly now I have the prerogative or the choice to just be like, oh, I don't want more. But I couldn't do that with you.
But I think that's different, right? So I get what you're drawing, but like with marriage, there's an agreement. But
Yes.
with a kid, like I'm sure on some spiritual level, whatever, there's an agreement. But like ultimately, like you decide to bring or to try and pray that God blesses you with a child. Like there's almost like you brought this thing here. Like it's not like, Zaya was like, hey, black newborn, I want to be your kid. And you're like, okay, cool, girl, let's do this.
Yeah, obviously.
I know that sounds silly, but I think that's a big thing. Like, it's like the weight is 100% on the fact that you decided this.
Yeah.
Versus if it's us, that's a different. The weight is almost shared.
Yes, but but even then, I'm like, we decided.
Yeah,
we decided to get married.
Yeah.
We could have said, no, let's not get married. Like, we could just live together, do whatever.
I know, but I'm just saying it's a shared decision. Like,
yeah, but the kid is shared as well. I don't make the kid alone.
I was saying between you and the kid. So I'm saying the weight is heavier because it's like when you're saying that, oh, I can decide to not have more because it's 100% on you. Like you are.
No, the thing I'm trying to say to you is exactly that the weight is shared, and that's part of the thing I had to realize.
Okay.
That the reason why we could get to 9 years, even with the punch that marriage gave both of us, and probably punched you more, the first year of us getting married. Right? So I'm like, it was a shock to both our systems, but I think it's more a shock to the woman, especially in your case, particularly.
The Dark Lord.
Hey, the Dark Lord. and and not having like lived outside of home.
Yes.
Like literally your first experience outside of home was with me. You didn't live at res, you didn't, etc. And we've spoken about that stuff. And I've lived, alone. I've been homeless alone.
Yes.
Anyway, but I'm like, so it was a shock in
Just throw that in there.
we talk loads, Angish.
Just throw that in there.
But it's more of a shock to you.
Okay, yeah.
And even then, part of why I was like, no, this is fine, man. Marriage is gonna be what it is. It's because it's between two people.
Yes.
It's a shared responsibility. So suddenly now I'm like in my and again that's why I'm saying the shock of having a kid and then being isolated is another thing. That obligation reminds me that your feelings are not giving you an accurate picture of the truth. They're giving you some aspect of reality,
and that's
but they're
tweetable,
not
even outside of this chat. Your feelings are not giving you an accurate
picture of the truth.
truth.
They're not.
Good. That's good.
Right? And so then I'm like, because the actual truth is this chick is made by two parents. The other chicks we're gonna have are made by two parents, right? So I'm like, I've seen obviously you pouring into her life, like there was in the 4 years that she's lived. I'm like, I could tell when she would gravitate more towards me, more towards you, and I think in this season she's just so attached to you, right? And I'm like, in God's makeup, in her little world, her own makeup as well. There's certain things she needs from both of us at certain points.
Yeah.
And she's going to draw strength from that. Again, kids who grow up in homes where there's two parents tend to flourish more than some of us who grow up in single households. And because we're made by two people and two people are supposed to pour into us. And I can see this dance that she has with us, and obviously she loves both of us, which she said the other day when you were not around, and she was like, Babu, I love you, but I miss mama. Right? And then I was like, okay, girl, just find a better way to tell me you love me. But anyway, but she has this dance between us. And so truth is, the other kids we're going to have, they held by both of us. And ultimately they're held by God. They are.
Yes.
They ultimately held by
God. That's ultimately what it is. Because he decides whether there's even a baby or not.
Yeah.
So,
Right? And so it's taken me like, I think I've had the dance between truth, my feelings for the past 4 years, and that dance has, I've gotten into a rhythm to let truth actually take the lead more. But then the other thing, when it came to you, it was only recent, right? Where I was like, mpana soba krencho. Doesn't mean that your struggles are done, but there was the desire you speak about of you being motherly and nurturing and being soft. I knew it was there, but there's an event that happened recently that like just made me know, not just know that it was there.
Okay.
And after that thing, I said to you, like, I'm giving you 5 babies, bro.
Okay. Oh, that event. Okay.
Yeah. Right? And I'm like, it's fine, dog. So in one sense, and that's the thing I hate about, I hate it. I hate about people dictating when people should have kids. And especially
nobody should do that, yeah.
And so then I'm like, let's just let people have a process, bro. People are dealing with themselves, and it's okay, bro. I'm sure there's things we can talk about that are objective, etc., etc. But sometimes I'm like, just let people deal with, because this thing is a bit more complex than we actually realize.
Very complex.
And so for me, I was like, yo, man, I got to that point where I was like, okay, cool. Like now, sitting on this couch, it's 4 kids, bro.
Was it not that before you sat on the couch?
No, obviously it was
kidding.
before.
I'm messing with you. Yeah. How do you think, like, do you have fears? So, because you've spoken about like your own fears as a father. You've spoken about your own fears as a father.
Yeah.
My health, right? Do you fear changes in our marriage? Like, because I think that was like a thing for me that I hadn't, and I guess again, you don't know until you know, right? I hadn't realized how much things would change, how I would really feel the change of not having 100% access to you all the time. And by that, I don't mean like, oh, calling you, whatever. Just like if we wake up and decide, hey, let's go watch a movie at 10 p.m. at night.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
I didn't realize how I would actually miss that. You know what I mean? Like, just that freedom to just... And I hate the word freedom, because then it sounds like we're bound. You know what I mean? As if it's like, this is not a child that we wanted to have. But just that change. I think that was like the biggest thing. Like, I have a memory of us, I think I was struggling with breastfeeding. It was like newborn stages. And I was crying my eyes out.
That was tough,
and
man.
Zaya was crying her eyes out. And you had to take the baby. And you went and, looked, you had to like calm her down. And then I had to like calm myself down. And in the moment, I didn't like acknowledge, what was happening. I was just like, oh my gosh, what have I done? I'm a terrible mother. Da, 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 da. But when like later on I reflected on it, I'm like, sure, situation has changed, because if I was having a meltdown, you would be there for me. But in that moment, our child had to come first, obviously, because she's like 7 days out the womb. So even that thing where you're like, shucks, I don't know, like the landscape changed, where you've got this person, and because they're solely dependent on you, like I see how people can forget the marriage in trying to... So I'm not saying in that moment you should have let the child cry and just comfort me.
No.
Obviously I had the ability to sort myself out, but I was just like, because she's small and she needs us and whatever, I can see how people can forget their marriage in the act of parenting.
And you know what the thing is? I'm like, in that moment, practically, yes, sure. We've both agreed, take care of the baby, she's crying, fine. But then the larger reality is when people don't stop that.
Yeah, that's the extreme.
They don't stop that, but then that's a clear sign of underlying issues.
Yes.
Where now the love I'm supposed to,
you spoke about that in a 2.5 episode, and I wanted to comment on that.
In my life ever be confused. And again, this is why obligation for me is not called. I will never ever be confused. You are number one when it comes to you, Uzziah, and all the other kids we're gonna have. You are number one. Those kids should know and must know and will forever know, right? You are number one. Without you, they don't exist, right? I am never confused, bro. My first role is being a husband, right? Well, obviously, in light of the conversation we're having,
Yes.
you know, my first role is to you. My first duty is to you. My first obligation is to you. My first call is to you. Secondly, to my child and all the other kids I'm gonna have. You'll get people who flip that thing and crush their children, right?
Sure.
Because the thing that you want to get from your child, from your spouse, you now expect to get from your child. And your child is not designed to give you that. They don't even occupy the position in terms relationally for them to give you that, right? Because that's weird. That is weird, bro. Right? It's that thing that I shared with you not long ago. You know, how do you raise a child? And this is very simplistic. Obviously, it's more complex and more detailed. But at a very broad, high level, right? That 0 to 6 years old, you need to discipline them. Teach them what is right and wrong.
Remember, yeah.
This is what's right. This is what's wrong. We greet people. We walk into a room. We say hi. We don't say hi. Don't talk to strangers. We're disciplining because they're trying to make sense of the world. They're clumsy. They're bumping into all social boxes, right? Bumping into people, bumping into themselves, bumping into you. They're trying to assert themselves. They are, right? You sometimes see Zaya bumping into herself where you're like, just calm down. Like you're freaking yourself out. Just relax, right? So 0 to 6, discipline them. 6 till 12, right? You have to train them. So we've taught you what is right and wrong. Okay, cool. So now let's go practice what's right and wrong. When we're training you, this is muscle. Okay, you're going to fail sometimes. When you've done something wrong, you have to repent. You have to ask for forgiveness. You have to go. Sometimes you're going to do good things, right? You're going to celebrate those good things. This is what it means to celebrate. This is what it means to be arrogant in your celebration. This is what it means to be humble in yourself. You're going to train them. And then from 12 till 18, you're going to coach them, meaning, hey, I've disciplined you, I've trained you, go play. You go collect the data now, right? So they're going to go out, go to school, bump into a bunch of kids, into their teachers, go to spa, you sending them out to do a little bit of groceries, they come back, and then they're going to come with the data. Hey, dad, hey, mom, I did this, I did that. Cool. How did you think this play went there? I think it was whack. I think it was right. What determines that, etc., etc. Coach. Okay, cool. Let's draw up a different play. Go play. They go, right? And then from 18 till forever, you become friends, right? Because they've been disciplined, they've been trained, they've been coached, and now you're equals.
Yeah.
You can be friends, right? And obviously understanding that you're still their parents. But then what most parents do is that at 0 to 6, they try and be friends with their kids because they're not friends with their spouse. And so then they crush the kid, right? The kid doesn't want to be your friend, but they'll take whatever you give them because they don't know any better. And so suddenly we all playing together like we're friends. Wah, 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 wah. And you crush the kid. So by the time they're actually supposed to be friends, they don't have any discipline, any training, any coaching. And then they can't be friends because who wants to have a friend who's just loose nje, who talks however? Right? You don't want to have a friend like that who's just nje, unruly, whatever. But it's cause you tried to be their friend and you failed to be a friend with your spouse. And so I'm like, I will never in our marriage, bro, ever. I'll say this to you in private. I've said this publicly. Ever confuse that you are my friend first before our child. You are my wife first before our did I say our child?
You did.
I did.
I didn't want to stop you. I was like, you know what? It's okay.
I wanted to say our child and our children, our child. But never. I'll never confuse that, bro. Ever. And so I'm saying that was funny. Our child. Wow.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
Because it was like a deep,
it was a deep moment.
And all I could hear was chilled.
My brain went children and child. Our child.
Okay.
Anyway.
We are back.
We are back.
centered,
We are
yes.
back. After the ad break, we are here again for all our children who are watching this. Right? So I all I'm saying is like we have to make those categories very clear, and I think that's when again my very warm obligation helps me, right? But I never want to confuse those two because I'm gonna crush my child, bro, and I never want to crush my child.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of people talking about how, oh, my dad was so cool with us, but like he wouldn't be as nice to my mom, and like how then they feel weird about the fact that like, oh,
weird,
he's like, let's go to the movies, and then the mom goes, where are you going? And it's like, yeah, like, you know what I mean? It's that's like sticky.
No.
I wanted to go back to talking about the fears of having more kids in relation to the like my mental illness and like my struggles, and that is something I thought of. And I think like even this year I've had like really bad days, and one of the things I'll say is like in that state is we should not have more kids because I'm like I'm scared, you know. And I remember thinking, because I'll be on Reddit because that's like my stuff, and people saying like, yeah, it's irresponsible to have kids if you have like a mental illness or whatever. And yeah, like it's
irresponsible.
You know, and I mean I think there might be a place for that. You know what I mean? Like depending maybe on the severity, or if it's like the kind of thing where you can't function as a person.
But doesn't that suggest that there's no hope though?
It does.
That's
But I think
like,
that's where I'm like, that's where like having something to believe in outside of just what's going on in your head. That's kind of what will then give you, which then I have my faith.
Because it just means like that's you.
That's
stuffed.
it. You're doomed.
No.
Like then actually, like you might as well just be done with it, you know? And so in those moments, I'll think that like this would be irresponsible, you know? But then I think again, because I have hope, and I also, I still have that little girl in me that believes in greatness and a full life and a joyful life. I've reconnected back to that version of myself, despite actually, I think having lost that part of myself for so long, now to like have it back, even amidst having the issues that I have, it's like so empowering for me, right? And then I go, if I decide, no, I'm not going to move in this direction because, I might 1, 2, 3. Because of who I am, I will approach that with everything in my life.
Yeah.
And when I go to what that logical end is, it's a dark ending.
Yeah, because you're not living then.
No, then that's it. Like, because then I'm just like, why should I try to be married for 20 years? Like, what if why should I even try to...
It's irresponsible for you to
It's irresponsible for me to start a new business. It's irresponsible for me, like, just like literally, like, end it all. And then I have to be like, I do hope in God. I do hope in being able to have beauty despite... despite the chaos, the difficulties and the chaos. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. And for me, it communicates a level of growth that even in this, me who I was not the kid who played, like when someone had a baby, I'm like, what should I do with this baby? Like I don't know what to do. Like this is weird. Like when kids come, hello, and I'm like, hi. Like I was that person. Like please take your kid. To now being like, man, like these.
Sorry, I remember when I'd greet kids and they didn't want to greet me, I'd be so cut.
Yeah, because it feels like when a child doesn't greet you, like your soul is rotten.
And then I had my own, and then I realized, okay, kids, can be very, who don't.
Yes.
You are strange.
Yes.
But then I also didn't care now about other kids.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they didn't want to greet me. I'm like, I'm going home to mine. Stuga. But anyway, I was saying that now it's more like a desire to still have, because, one of my biggest things in life was I refuse to live a life that is dictated to by fear. Yeah.
Right? But I said this stuff at a very young age. I was making these big declarations. I had gone through stuff like in my family, but my personal impact things, I hadn't had that. One of the things that drove me to saying, yes, I will get married to you was because I refused to be afraid. Because the only thing that was making me say, was I was afraid that it won't work. I was afraid he'll live with me and find out that, shucks, this chick sucks. You know, I was afraid. And then it's just like, no, man, I can't live in fear. And maybe that's naive in and of itself, but I see it as growth. I see it as really pressing into living and being intentional about living. And so for me, it's like, shucks, I'm in my, I've been married for 9 years, I'm in my 30s, and I'm just like, oh man, like I've discovered this part of me that I didn't even think existed. Let's start there. Like I thought my child will not like me, like at all. Like I'll just be the.
She adores you,
and I adore her, and I'm like, this is yes, we fight, whatever, and I'm still her mom, right? But even that dynamic, to see that tenderness, that maternal, like in me, Lily, what? Lily was what? Like I'm not the girl. That's what I used to say to you. I'm not the girl who gets married. I'm not the girl who's somebody's mama. You know. And so even though there's fear, I'm like, yeah, but I still want to do it. And like everything else in my life, where I don't know any outcomes for anything, right? Like there's literally, even when you get in the car to say I'm going to Pick and Pay, you cannot be 100% certain that you will get there.
No, 100%.
Right? Like you, like anything, right? So
although we don't think, because if you thought like that, you'd be paralyzed.
You'd be paralyzed. So there's a point where you just have to say, this is what we're doing. Yes, I'm not being irresponsible, whatever, and not like, thankfully, I can't just make a baby, like wake up and grow a child in my stomach. But then that brings me to the next part of the conversation, which is being in agreement to have a child. Because in everything you're saying, I'm like, should that time come, yes, if you express your fears, I'll express my fears. We're not robots, right? So, but it's like a thing where I would never just be like, well, I'm gonna make a baby, because that was something that, and like if you guys follow me on Instagram, if anyone follows me on Instagram, I had this chat like a couple of, probably at this point it's months ago, where like talking to different women, and like this is not like, these are like women in the church. These are mamas, these are young women, these are women not in the church, these are married women, these are unmarried women, who are just like, babes, if you want a baby, do what you gotta do. Because he's your husband. He's not going to leave you. Like when you say I'm pregnant.
Does.
And the thing is, like, dude, that's the thing, right? But I remember the first person who said that to me, I was like, yeah, but she's a bit fearless. So then like I had a couple of people say to me, and then I think when like this older church mama said it to me, I was like, not from our church, in case people might be looking, who was that Lily was talking to on Sunday? But like, I remember thinking, Kanti, is this, like, is this, and for me, I thought, but like that is so wrong. I think
feel that's wrong, bro.
Because it's also like having a kid, especially when you've had one, it is a shock to the system, right? And so having a second one, and then I even thought, practically speaking, like when you are trying to get pregnant, it's not like you get pregnant. I mean, some people first month, bam, no period, I'm pregnant. But then you're going through, maybe like, I think for us it took like 8 months or something like that. And I remember there'd be times every month I'm like, oh, I'm not pregnant. Oh, I thought I was pregnant. And then, you know, the cycle comes, whatever. And I'm like, so because you're having this secret plot in your head, you can't even you can't even show that. I don't know. For me, it just felt like one of the ultimate betrayals to do to someone.
And especially considering like the dynamic of our relationship. Although I do think, despite our dynamic, I just think it's wrong.
No, I think it's just immoral.
I think
amoral,
it's wrong,
immoral, whichever one it is.
Yeah, I think it's wrong. But considering our dynamic, I think that would just cut me, man. Because I'm like, that's a big thing. Like for us to have a child and for you to just be like, I've decided this on my own and I'm gonna, you know, just lie about other stuff and now we're pregnant. Man, that'll be whack. Anyway.
Yeah. So I definitely think because of the changes, and I mean, you've expressed here, you know, just the dynamics that you're going through, like as a father and
as a husband,
and all of those things. And I'm going through stuff as well. That like, I think with those changes, you have to be in agreement.
Yeah. Bro, it's wild.
Because it will change your marriage. Like it's not
it will, bro.
It's not going to just stay
what you had asked, you know. So I'm like, I wanted to say to that like, we've been married for 9 years. Our marriage has changed every year. So yes, Zaya changes it in a different way. So why would I be afraid of change? If our marriage was going to change anyway, we're not going to get to 20 years looking the same.
It would be nice though.
Looking the same? What does that even mean?
Like,
Lillian?
like to be those people that are like, are you 50? And you're like, yes.
No, obviously physically we'll look the same, dog.
Oh, that's what I meant. I was completely being vain about that. What are you talking about? Sorry.
No, I'm just saying like the posture, dynamic, the look of our marriage.
Yes.
That's not gonna be the same.
Of course, yeah.
We're not the same one. Like first year.
Oh no.
Like we 9 years in this thing. Our marriaging looks different.
Yeah.
Has to be, and part of what influences that or changes that or impacts that is having a child.
Yeah.
So all the kids will have, God willingly, will change our marriage. But our marriage was going to change anyway.
Yes.
So why now am I freaking out just because there's humans in the thing? That's the one thing I wanted to say there. But just at a point of interest, I'm like, you are a people watcher like I am, né? Like you.
I am 100. Just on people watching. Like, I used to love wearing sunglasses because then I could watch people. And then when I had to start wearing glasses, I forgot that they weren't sunglasses. And several times people have looked back at me and I'm like, oh, flip, I'm wearing my actual glasses. This is a disaster.
You can't see me.
Yeah.
Yes, I just wanted to confirm. I knew that. I just wanted to confirm that. But have you watched somebody and you thought, wow, like interesting features, like how their face looks.
Yeah.
And then you obviously, if you're a people watcher, you always have background stories in your head based on their eyes, their nose, how they dressed.
You form a whole personality.
Yeah. And so yes, people have a uniqueness because even our fingerprints don't look the same. All of that to say, like we can do that. For whatever kid doesn't exist right now.
Okay.
Isn't that mind-blowing?
Like what? Just imagine.
Like we can go have sex now.
Oh, wow.
And create a whole human that never existed, bro. Imagine.
Okay.
Forget the sex part.
No.
But imagine. Imagine. In this moment.
You have lost me.
We created a human, God willing, that is Zaya. And we've seen her. And we've seen how she's growing. But we can make a whole, like we're the same people, but we can make a whole human that doesn't look like Zaya. It's nuts, bro.
It is nuts.
It's nuts. Like different personality.
Yes.
Like they might even come out looking like a yellow bone, bro. Nuts. It's buck. Like, it's nuts. And they've never existed before.
Yes.
It's wild, bro.
This reminds me of an episode of The Terrell Show where Kelly Rowland was on and saying how she just gets shocked when she sees twins. Like, she still just gets shocked. And he's like, yeah, they're twins. Like, but they look the same.
They look the same,
How did
bro.
that happen? It's two people who look the same. This is. I feel like you have the feeling
but
she
the
had.
nuts thing even about twins is, like, you could get a set of twins and get a whole other set of twins.
Yes.
But they're not the same twins, bro.
Yes.
It's buck. Like, we can have 3-4 other children, bro.
Yes, that's how it works.
Like, you and your sister have, there's similar things. But you're not the same people. Me and my sisters, we're not the same. It's buck, bro. But we came from the same two people.
Yes.
It's wild.
So wait, what? This is just you sharing how fascinated you are.
I'm just thinking, like now we sitting. I'm feeling you. We have a connection. I'm like, we've done this thing once. It's sleeping in there now, right? We know how Zaya looks. Seeing her, I think of her little cute self when she was a baby and her sneeze that just melts me away. But we can have a whole other human that doesn't even sneeze the same way, bro. But they come from us.
See, my biggest fear when it comes to that is, we had a child who slept, and what if we don't have a child who sleeps?
Yeah, and it's gonna change our marriage in other ways, bro.
Yeah,
that's gonna be hard.
Yeah,
and I think
because I already have insomnia.
I know, and I think in God's wisdom and grace, He, thank you, Lord, that you knew how shocking how shocked our systems would be, that at least you gave us a kid who sleeps, a kid who doesn't complain, right? Anyway.
We'll see. Lord
But,
willingly. We'll
yeah,
see.
so it's Buck.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that is wild. So anyway, we're gonna have more kids.
That would be nice.
It'll
I don't
be
know about
dope.
more kids.
But dog, you said you wanted to have
I
4.
do, but like, I'm thinking the years are going.
That's why we need to do it now. A lot of kids now, bro. A lot of kids now, bro. Let's say in closing, how we
Such
start.
a pastor thing to say, hey.
Nah, but we've said this before in this
I
podcast.
know, but I never say in closing.
Okay,
You say in
yeah.
closing.
Mama Ruti.
Ooh.
In closing.
Okay.
If all our other kids that don't exist, from the one that does exist, if you would assign rock songs to describe
goodness.
their personality, like what would Zaya's personality be?
That is such a fun question.
That's why you married me, dog.
I did. The laughter. That other episode where we spoke about love lives here. Man. Oh, you go first. Sorry.
That's what you said the last time.
I know, because you have time. You asked the
I
question.
don't
so
have
you
time. I think
had
on the stuff
time.
at the spot.
What rock song?
What rock song would Zaya be? I mean, she does feel like a Nickelback.
Which song?
I don't know.
A lot of Nickelback songs are sad.
Although it's what we said about Boys to Men, where it's like it's a breakup song that makes you think of a funeral. Né? But Nickelback was like sad, but you happy.
Mm-hmm.
Like we all sang, "Never Wanna Man," but we were not sad.
What? We sang what?
Never Wanna Was a Poor
Oh,
Man.
okay. Yes.
We were not sad singing that song.
Mm-hmm. No, we weren't.
We were happy.
But we were feeling something.
Yeah, but it was
Angst, not angst. I don't know,
I don't know.
something.
It was a feeling of changing the world.
Maybe.
Anyway, I don't know. What song would Zaya be?
Okay.
Okay, so let's start here. I'd never want to have an Evanescence child.
Oh my God. Wake me up inside. Remember, I'm so tired of being here. Can you cry? That song was, I listened to that song so much.
All of us.
Oh,
I slept and woke up with that song,
Yo,
bro.
my immortal.
But I do not want to have a child.
Okay,
like
so
that.
we're not doing that.
What?
Okay, you know what? I have one. I'm going to pick this
Yeah.
one. It's Red Hot Chili Peppers, Scar Tissue. Scar tissue when you wish you saw. Na na na, well, broken. I don't know, is that rock? It's a lonely view. Because it's just cool, man.
I don't even know what the song
No, I don't know
actually
what
said.
they say.
In a lonely view.
Ding. Yeah, ding, 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 ding. Yeah, because it's just cool. But the other song that's on top of that,
Does Coldplay count as soft rock?
I don't know. See, now I want to change my answer.
Because you want Zaya to be yellow. Because that's the song you sang
No,
for her.
no. I mean, that's my song for Zaya. But you said a song that like is her.
Describes her.
Yes. But also, there's a Billy Talent song. Please don't be put off by the title. Devil in a Midnight Mass. But it's just
Billy who?
Billy Talent.
What song is it?
It's if you listen to Billy Talent, they what did they sing? They sang Surrender.
Oh,
but that's not the song. The song is it's just a devil in a midnight mass. It's just like very.
So what would be?
Because she's energetic and she's passionate.
She's like her father.
Okay, I wouldn't use that song for you, but okay.
That's what I'm saying, though.
But there's just anyway, it's fine. I think
I see her. It's the random. She's sitting by the couch and the song starts, and she's just like,
yes. So
I'm
anyway,
like, that's my inner self.
I'm gonna stick with Scar Tissue.
Okay. Okay. Dope.
But I feel like I'm gonna watch this episode and be like, I shouldn't have. So
That's okay.
Like future Lily is gonna write in the comment section, and she'll put a link to say this is the actual
the song I
song.
wanted.
Yes.
What song would I want? Oh, like for the other kids that we don't have now.
I thought it was for Zaya.
No, I said like for the other kids we don't have as well.
God, this is a long game.
Hi, it's fine. We can end it.
Not long as in like, I thought I was done. I thought I won. I really was like, I got it. I'm like, there's more.
Anyway, you
Okay.
won, my girl.
Thanks. Even though I know you don't mean it.
When we have the other kids, we'll decide what song.
What's your song? Quickly. We're going to cut to credits now. Posaya, yeah.
No, it's fine. We can go with that one.
No, for you. You don't have one.
For her?
Yes.
I can't think.
Okay.
There's many songs swelling in my head.
Okay.
Oh,
It's fine.